Sir, the first question, you are a specialist on air traffic management. It means both civilian and military over Europe. We have a great congestion over Europe right now. And how you are going to approach to the joint air traffic control just in the terms of the crisis?
Thank you very much. Yes, airspace, when we talk about air traffic, it's a shared national resource. It is something that needs to be balanced between both the civil operators and the military. There are increasing demands that are on both sides that are changing that balance, and it's only through civil-military cooperation and collaboration that we're going to be able to address these issues in the future.
And within the NATO, you work on that, on the, let's say, joint system which could connect every European countries just in expecting of any sort of crisis around Europe?
I wouldn't quite put it that way. When it comes to air traffic management, you have a network manager that does that through Eurocontrol. We have processes and procedures through the European Commission, through the FAA, through ICAO that helps connect how air traffic is managed. What we do in NATO is we interface with the civil and the military to ensure that the requirements for both are met so that we can do what we need to do. And it's a difficult balance, and as I said, this shared resource needs to be utilized by both.
How successful you are in balancing that and obtaining, let's say, joint air traffic control?
We work very hard to make sure that all of NATO's requirements and all the national perspectives are addressed from all of the players. To say that we're successful, well, it works today. Will we be successful in the future? Well, we just need to endeavor and keep working to try. It's the framework that which we work in, this civil-military collaboration, that's important.
Okay, so let's turn into another subject, UAV. You are also a specialist on the UAVs. Today's warfare is UAV. You can't imagine today's any kind of operation without UAV. Small, bigger, medium scale, strategic. In which direction that development goes according to your opinion?
I think this is a very good question, and it also relates back to this balance of shared airspace that I brought up. UAVs may be a future for warfare, but it's not the only future. There's a long list of things that have to occur before UAVs become completely ubiquitous. However, on the civil side, there is a great drive, a great push and demand for autonomous package delivery, autonomous capabilities for UAVs at the lower level. But at the same time, there's also a drive for military requirements that look for UAVs, remotely piloted aircraft at this stage, at the higher end. So again, it's finding this balance. Now, will it completely take over in the future from manned aircraft? I'm not sure we're going to see that in the near term or even the medium term. So I would say that UAVs are a capability, but it's not the only capability.
So this is still a rule: the man in the loop. In the case of the combat UAVs, are you sure that will be the border will be one day crossed?
This is a very hypothetical question. We're a long way off in terms of AI and in terms of regulation and in terms of the rules of combat, the law of...
In other words, robots will kill somebody themselves.
This is well beyond my portfolio, but I think we're well beyond or very far away from that even being a possibility. There's lots of discussion that needs to take place, discussion with the lawmakers, with the policymakers, with the ethicists, but then there's also the practical matter of, is the technology there? And that technology is not just AI, it's also the data that's got to support it and the sensors that have to take in that. So I think this kind of discussion is very premature. You can have AI, but AI does not necessarily replace tactical fluency or technical competency on the battlefield. So we're quite a ways away from that.
So this is such a phrase that the last, let's say, manned plane was already constructed, and in the future there will be something in the air, especially the war of the robots. So you do not share that point of view.
I don't necessarily share that. Right now, the reason why that there's a lot of automation in the air is because the domain, airspace, and is easier to model when you talk about artificial intelligence. When you talk about the land domain, it's a very difficult task. So I do not see that we're going to have that anytime in the near future. Our systems aren't there, our regulations aren't there, our approach to combat isn't there yet.
How far in the studies on that is NATO? We are the member of the NATO. How far the NATO is entering that all subjects, including artificial intelligence?
So, bridging between your past 2 points, NATO is not looking at that at all. NATO does not have autonomous weapons. NATO, as a policy...
the countries.
Some of the countries within NATO may, but the countries within NATO has not asked NATO to have autonomous weapons. The closest thing that we have is the Alliance Ground Surveillance System, which has some automated functions, but those are for navigation. And it is not an armed aircraft. So NATO doesn't have autonomous weapons. There may be countries that do, but certainly not the Alliance.
But I think we are approaching the era in which the quickest possible operations will need artificial intelligence to decide, not the man, because the man is too slow.
I think we're a great deal away from a machine making a decision, because commanders are ultimately responsible for all decisions that need to be made. The commander may employ tools and techniques that help them decide, inform their decision, but
it means assistance.
The decision is ultimately in the commander's hands.
It means as a tool, assisting tool for the commanders.
Maybe, potentially, but we're still a long way off. I think what we will see is that things like artificial intelligence may help with taking the volume of information out there and then or the volume of data and then presenting it into information that would inform decisions that are taken.
Thank you very much, and it was great to host you in Poland. Thank you very much.